Hello, sexy ladies. It's your boy. No, never mind. Everybody, please immediately forget that I said that, or else I'm gonna be really sad and disappointed. Good evening. No, that's even worse. Hello, buddies. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Cry, You're So Sexy. Or should I say, having received some constructive. I really apologize to the dogs in the background, but having received some constructive criticism, should I say, welcome back to Don't Cry, You're So Sexy. Aha! The coolest new podcast in town. These dogs will not shut up. I'm just gonna give them a minute. Yes, I'm back. Yeah, as I was saying, I'm so thankful to everybody who's been tuning into the podcast over the past week. It means so much to me. And so basically, I'm hosting this podcast on Anchor, which is like Spotify's podcast platform. And they give you like stats about your podcast like every week. And this week, I found out where you guys are listening from and what the age groups are, and it's really exciting to see people who are listening outside of where my absolute best friends live, which means that more than 5 people actually care about the podcast, which is just crazy to me. But like, shout out to somebody who's listening in Germany, somebody who's listening in Hong Kong, in Canada. None of my besties live there, but like, if you're listening, I'm so thankful. Like, thank you. I know Aditi is listening in Ireland. Like, she's literally the only one listening in Ireland, so I'm really thankful for that. I'm so glad that you guys are listening. And when I looked at the age demographics, like 90% of my audience is between the ages of 18 to 22, which really makes sense. But there's like 1% of my audience which is between the ages of 45 to 59. And it's like either my mom is secretly listening to this podcast, or it's probably one of my teachers who follows me on Instagram. Hi, thank you so much for listening. It's been so overwhelming and so gratifying to receive your responses and your feedback over the past week. One of the main feedbacks was that I should say the word aha after I see the podcast title, so I did that today. Another response was that my voice doesn't sound like my own, which I actually agree. Like, I'm still like finding my groove with this whole recording equipment thing. I was so surprised and I was so happy that a lot of you guys could actually relate to what I talked about in the last episode about passion projects, and how you guys really feel the same way about a lot of things that you do. I know somebody commented on the Instagram, but then deleted their comment where they were like, the way I don't even have a passion project. And I just want to say, like, that's okay. Like, the whole point is that you should not have to force a passion project, and like, it'll come to you. It'll honestly, don't try to force it. Don't try to do something just for the heck of it, just because other people are doing it, or you're just gonna end up feeling miserable, or you're gonna be embarrassed of yourself in like 1 year, which happened to me. But I'm not gonna talk about that today. My friend Ojas also sent in a voice note. The platform that I'm hosting on, Anchor. Also, this is not sponsored by them. Like, I've already talked about them like twice in the past 5 minutes. But yeah, you can send in a voice note that I can put on the podcast, and it can be like a part of the audio on the podcast. So Ojas has sent a voice message or a voice note, and I am excited. So I'm gonna try and find. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I love the podcast. I just think that you could probably shorten the message even further than live, laugh, love. I think you could go to YOLO, and I think YOLO would be even cooler than live, laugh, love. Plus,
Yes.
you wouldn't feel like a shady white woman. So,
That is
there's
true.
that.
That is true. The entire goal of one's life should be to not sound like a shady white woman. I completely agree with that.
Okay, I have a more serious contribution to make here uh, than just telling you to say YOLO. But yeah, so I think that I really don't like the definition that Google gave you for a passion project. I think a passion project is, anything that like aligns with your interests and something that'll give you satisfaction. So like if I don't know examples because I don't have any passions, but like
No.
you know what I'm saying. Like I don't think it has to be something that you're monetizing or that's an enterprise. It's just something that aligns with your interests and is something you put work and effort into because you enjoy those things. Like it can completely be for self satisfaction. I don't see the need for it to be like an enterprise.
I totally agree. I feel like Otis explained it better than me in like literally a 40-second voice note, and I made you guys listen to like a 30-minute episode about it. I'm sorry about that. Otis is more eloquent than I am. I just really feel like this whole like everyone circuit of like, oh my god, like these kids who have like 50 different passion projects really make you feel like you need to be a small business owner to have like a qualifying passion project. But yeah, apart from that, I totally agree. And so many of you guys also seem to agree with like the culture around passion projects and how it just makes us feel guilty if we're not doing something like fast or at the time that we're supposed to be doing it. Like again, coming back to the point, like you're not supposed to have, quote unquote, like air quotes, supposed to have a passion project at any point in your life. Like it's just, if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, that's like completely fine. No situation is better than the other. It's something that you can be completely neutral about, according to me. Yeah, those are my remaining thoughts on passion projects. Capitalism sucks, guys. You will find out more about my, leftist leanings as we go ahead with the podcast. So, if you're a right winger, you can stop listening now. But yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious about this one. So yeah, like we'll find out more about that later. But currently, I just want to say that capitalism sucks, and yeah, it makes you believe shit that isn't true. So yeah, fuck it. Okay, so it's time for some life updates, guys, because I thought it would be a nice segment to include in the podcast because it basically just fuels my main character complex. So why not, right? Life updates. So Prince Philip died this week, and I have a lot of feelings about it. Like when I immediately heard that he died, and I felt like, oh my god, really? Like I was like, I won't say excited, but I was like, okay, like that. That was my reaction, and I felt kind of bad about it. Because somebody has died. But then I was like, this dude literally, he was literally a colonizer. I'm sure you guys have heard this take on Twitter like multiple times in this week, and by the time this episode comes out, you're probably going to be tired of hearing it. But yeah, like this guy was a literal colonizer, and I should really not be feeling bad about it as somebody whose family has been affected by the partition and shit like that. Like yeah, like as a South Asian person, as a non-white person, to be honest, I should not be feeling bad about his death, right? And like it's been so horrifying to see people. This is crazy. Okay, so this dude, I'm pretty sure he's a white dude, from King's College London, has a meme page, and it's called King's College Lolden, very original. And he literally went batshit crazy after Prince Philip died. And so the student newspaper Roar did this segment on their Instagram where they were like, "What do you think of Prince Philip's death?" And they shared the responses about like how students are feeling about him dying. And obviously not everybody was feeling sad about it. Like, and they were like, you shouldn't be feeling sad about it because he was a little colonizer. And these are like people of color whose families have probably been subjugated to colonialism and whatnot because of Prince Philip's family. He got so enraged, like this meme page guy got so enraged that Roar was putting that content up on their Instagram, that he was like, "I'm declaring a war against Raw News," and then he literally, yeah, he just like deleted all the memes, or he archived all of the memes, and he has probably posted like hundreds. So he archived all of the memes on his page. He made his profile photo a black and white photo of the Union Jack, and he made his bio "a day we remember," or like "a day to remember," or some shit like that. And the only post he has on his profile then is like this post about Prince Philip and how we should be mourning him and blah blah blah. And then he's putting all these stories up about how he's basically like a white supremacist, because he's posting all of these racist memes and shit. And then he's posting a lot of like Prince Philip posts, and he like, "Yo, he did a service to this country. You studying in King's College London, and the monarchy established this institution, so if you don't like it, you can go study in SOAS." And personally, I would love to study in SOAS, but they just don't offer a linguistics course, so that's kind of sad. But then he said like, "The monarchy has brought forward humanity and has done so much for countless generations and blah blah blah." And oh my god, this is And then he was literally questioning Roar's journalism, and Roar is a student newspaper. Like, I write for them, that's a different thing altogether, but like, they've literally won multiple student awards, right? This guy who runs King's College Lolden and is literally having a meltdown because people of color dare to express their opinion. I think that day he just took it as a free pass to post the most misogynistic, ableist shit on his stories. It was really sad to see. It was kind of pathetic. And it was also terrifying because this is literally just like a university meme page. Like, I would expect the least amount of nuance from a page like that. And yeah, they feel like they're entitled to give all of these hot takes on, things, and like basically just like shutting up people of color who may have an opinion which is not exactly the same as this white guy. And then there were also people of color, right? Like my friends in Delhi, not my friends, but like people like mutuals or locals or whatever, I don't know what they're called, who were like, thank you for your service, Prince Philip. And I was like, really? Like, what service did he do to your family? R.I.P. Prince Philip, you were a real one. And all of that coming from people who he probably called like a, I don't know, like a drug addict, or like, oh, you only eat curry or some shit like that. He probably said something like that, right? So yeah, these people are like, defending his honor and stuff, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just not gonna engage in discourse anymore. I am no longer going to have nuance about anything. Literally, just like colonizer empathizers. That rhymes, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's what I had to deal a lot with over the past 2 week. So that was kind of shit. I bought a T-shirt, and it's yellow. The website, it had photos and it was like a pale, like a lice yellow, but when I actually got it, it's like an orangish yellow. And when I wear it, I literally look like a McDonald's employee. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm still probably gonna keep it because they don't have any other sizes available in that style. And yeah, I'm just gonna wear it for the memes. And I got tested for COVID yesterday, or was it day before? I don't remember. Day before, yeah. Not because I have any symptoms or like I was in contact with a contaminated or like what is it called, infected person or anything. It's just I wanna be safe, friends, because I live with my grandparents and everything. So yeah, just trying to be safe up in this bitch. The Kumbh Mela has happened. The Kumbh Mela has happened, so that's also been frustrating. So yeah, I thought it'd just be best to like fucking get tested. I don't have my results yet, so if I'm positive, I'll probably be recording the next episode in self isolation. That's gonna be fun, but I really hope that I'm negative, obviously. So yeah. With that, friends, I think we can get right into it. Like, I'm sorry, you've probably, this is like 18 minutes as far as I can see right now, but when I edit it, it's probably going to come down to maybe 15 or 12 to 15 minutes. And I'm sorry you've had to listen to me rant about meaningless shit for the past 15 minutes. That's on me. But now we can get right into it. And the topic for today's episode is my silly little rules. What I mean by these rules basically is just like these dumbass rules my brain will make up to try to like get me to do something, or to like not get me to do something. And I put like a small example on my Instagram stories when I was asking you guys what you guys want me to talk about on this episode. And I said like the fact that I am a 20-year-old now and my brain still says that I can't wear nice clothes at home. Like, what the hell is that? Like, if a t-shirt or something I bought is nice, I will not wear it at home because yeah, just that mentality that nice clothes are reserved for outside. And this mentality, literally in a pandemic, why do I want to make myself so miserable? Like, I'm going to be staying at home anyway. Why can't I wear nice clothes while doing it? And that's just kind of frustrating. So I made an entire episode about similar thoughts that my brain has, and wondering whether you guys also have these same thoughts. So yeah, to start off, I don't feel like these are like ethical or moral rules. Like, it's not like a fucking bro code where I can't date my friend's ex, or like, or some rule about like respecting your elders or some shit. That's not what these rules, those are not silly little rules. Those are like, I feel, those are bigger rules with more nuance behind them. These are just like dumb rules which exist for no real reason. So like they're a combination, like I said, of like both restrictive stuff and impulsive stuff. So it's gonna be restrictive in the sense that I will be trying to stop myself from doing some things like, wearing those nice clothes, or maybe, I don't know, making 3 coffees in a day, or, when there's no real reason. Like, okay, maybe the coffee thing has a health reason, but like, I'm only gonna get older after this, like, right now I'm in my prime. So I should be doing as much dumbass shit as I can get away with. So yeah, like there's no reason for me to not drink 3 coffees a day. Yeah, stuff like that. Like I just stop myself from, I don't know, like if I really want to inculcate a habit of like journaling or something, or like reading before bed at night, the logical thing to do would be to keep a book or a journal and a pen on my bedside table. But I just will not do that. I will not do that because I have a silly little rule in my head, which is like you cannot keep your books or you cannot keep stationery on your bedside table, because your bedside table is only meant for one plant, a handkerchief maybe, and yeah, your multivitamins, and that's it. Nothing else can be kept on the bedside table. And that's how my brain works, and it really sucks because then, because of my silly little rule, I can't inculcate like a good hobby as I should be able to if I was a normal person. But yeah, I have that thing. So that's an example. Like a thing that I've noticed with these rules is that they will literally make my life miserable, and just like even though they're like really silly and dumb, they will still guide my life in really, really annoying ways, and I just don't understand why. Like, okay, another one is you cannot wash your hair 2 days in a row. Like, you can't wash your hair, you have to leave like a day's gap between washing your hair. And that doesn't really help me at all because I literally have an oily scalp. I'm sorry, this is TMI, but ideally, I should be washing my hair every single day. And multiple people have told me. I watched a Brad Mondo video and he said that it's okay if you want to wash your hair every day, that's fine. But I literally still will not do it because my brain is like, no, you cannot wash your hair every single day. That's gonna damage it. Even though there is no evidence that suggests that that is the case, I will still follow that dumbass rule. Another place where I frequently experience my brain doing this dumb thing is whenever it comes to like working out. I used to enjoy working out at some point last year, and after that point, I literally got over it. I just would not be able to get myself to work out anymore. So the excuse that my brain would give in the form of a silly little rule was that you cannot work out on days that you have to wash your hair. Sorry, on the days that you don't wash your hair, because then it's gonna get oily and sticky, and you can't wash it that day. So it's gonna be oily and sticky the entire day, and that's annoying. So you should not work out on. You can only work out on alternate days, and then on alternate days I won't feel like working out, on the days I have to wash my hair, so I just don't do it. It's a vicious cycle I can literally nip in the bud by choosing to wash my hair every day, but I will just not do that because that's just how my brain works. And yeah, that's another dumb way in which I make my life miserable. And there is nobody to blame for this except me. It's all my fault, and I can still not fix it. I just realized that my AC is off, and that also made me think about another silly little rule I have. I can't even say the word silly little rule properly. Silly little rule. I'm sorry that I had to enunciate that to prove to myself that I can actually say them properly. But yeah, the another silly little rule I fuck another silly little rule I have is that I cannot turn on the AC during the day until it's at least mid May. So, even if I'm sweating and stuff in the middle of the day, because climate change, and that's not how the weather in Delhi works anymore. It's really hot right now. It's probably like 40 degrees outside. I will still not turn on the AC during the daytime because you can only turn on the AC at nighttime. I don't know why I think this. I probably think this because, as a kid, we would turn on the AC at nighttime because, it was cooler during the day then. And I've just been really conditioned by the environment to follow this rule, but now that we're having climate change, I'm still following this rule and feeling miserable about myself, even though I'm probably saving electricity, so that's good. Yeah, I have no idea why I'm doing this, but I am doing this, so that's there. So, in that way, I feel like so many of these rules can be influenced by our childhood, and it's a lot of childhood conditioning that goes into it. And like you were taught certain rules as a kid so that you, I mean, aren't an absolute riot, and so that you are an easy child to bring up. In my little experience with children, I feel like that's a valid concern for parents to have, because bringing up a brat is would be my worst nightmare personally. So your parents don't want you to become brats, so they impose these rules on you, such as you can't have ice cream on weekdays, or you can't have junk food on weekdays. Junk food is only meant for the weekends, and no pizza on weekdays or anything. You can't go out on the weekdays. We can only go out on the weekends. That's why I feel like weekdays can be so shitty sometimes. Even though you can have free time on your weekdays, you will still not want to do anything fun because you've been conditioned. And by you, I mean me, because you've been conditioned to literally hate the fucking weekdays. So the only fun you can have is on the weekends. Yeah, I've always been a Friday lover. Always been a Friday lover. I was born on a Friday. Yeah, another very narcissistic thing of me to say, but isn't this podcast a narcissistic thing of me to do anyway? So yeah, there's that, right? I really feel like it's a childhood thing, and I mean, those were okay rules to have as a kid because your parents wanted you to be an easy kid. But now that you're an adult, you kind of have control over your own life, and it doesn't really matter. You can have ice cream on the weekdays. You know who's stopping you? Literally nobody is stopping you. Like, it's just a mental block that you have to have fun on the weekends. And I feel like it can be so pressurizing to put all of those expectations on that 1 or 2 days in the week where you're supposed to have the time of your life. Whereas I feel like if you are taking consistent rest and treating yourself consistently, that's so much better for your mental health and for your like working capacity or whatever. Don't want to sound like a capitalist or whatever, but yeah, I think it's so much better for you and so much better for your mental health. But we still just put all of that on the weekend, which is kind of sucky. So, I mean, yeah, if you guys can eat ice cream every day, just have one little spoon or one little cup, or I don't know, one little tub of ice cream every day. Do that, it's good for you. And don't put too much pressure on the weekend to give you all the fun in your life. And yeah, oh my god, I see it now. I literally hate Saturdays. I love Fridays, but I hate Saturdays. And Saturday, I think when I was living with my family, is supposed to be the one day of the week where you go out and you do a lot of fun things. But whenever I'm living alone, I hate Saturdays because I don't know what to do on a Saturday. Like, it's supposed to be this really fun day where we do all the fun things and we break all the rules. When you're an adult living in a pandemic and you can't see your friends or you don't have friends, Saturdays are just sad. Like, you expect so much from that day and it provides you with nothing. So you just aimlessly scroll through TikToks for 4 hours straight and watch something dumb on Netflix that you don't even want to watch, and probably eat ramen or something. And that's the tea on Saturdays when you're living alone. I'm not gonna go off on a rant about maybe somehow these dumb little rules are also affected by, just the way the world works and everything. I'm not gonna get too philosophical with this one, but I really do feel that we could be a little bit better off if we just didn't have these dumb rules in the first place, because they make life so miserable for us and we deserve to be happy. Oh my god, another silly little rule, and I feel like this is a silly little rule that everybody has. Not everybody, I mean, but like most people might have, is that you have to have 3 meals a day, have 3 whole meals a day, and that's it. And I actually learned that this was not how humans are supposed to. You know what? Let's fucking make this philosophical. I already said 5 seconds ago that I wasn't gonna do that, but that's where we are right now. So I read somewhere that humans are not supposed to. I think it was an article about both food and sleep. So you know how it's like you have to have 3 whole meals a day and you have to sleep for 8 hours at night. Both of those things are absolute bullshit. You're supposed to have 5 meals a day, and they're all supposed to be like snacky meals. Like, you're supposed to not like fuel yourself up. for an entire like 8 hour shift or whatever. You're supposed to, just like be giving your body some intermittent energy that it needs. That's how the early humans and shit lived, and they were nice people, I guess. So they were healthy, probably. And we are also like humans were supposed to do that. They were not supposed to have 3 whole meals a day. And I swear to fucking God, I don't care how heavy a British breakfast is, that shit should be illegal. It should be illegal to be able to have that amount of like fried food in the morning. Like, doesn't that make you want to go right back to sleep? I'm sorry, but I just cannot. Like, fucking hash browns in the morning. My God. The West is ruining everything. The West is literally ruining everything. Yeah, the most I can do in the morning is like chai and biscuits, or like an avocado toast with a banana, something like that. I'm probably gonna try and get into oatmeal maybe, because I'm trying to be a wellness queen these days. I started using tahini sauce and putting it in everything. Yeah, I also started eating kimchi before every meal because apparently it's good for your gut. We're also not supposed to be sleeping for 8 hours straight. We're supposed to be sleeping for 2 or 3 hours across the day. So, like, you're awake for 5 hours, then you take a 2 hour nap, and then you're awake for another 5 hours, and you take a 2 hour nap, blah blah blah, like that. So, I don't know, my math isn't really good, but I think you end up taking some like 5, no, not 5. Yeah, I think 5 naps, no, not 5. I think it's gonna be more like 3. 3 naps a day. Humans are not supposed to be sleeping for 8 hours and then, just be awake for the next 16 hours. Like, I literally, if you think about it, that's really not how it should work. Like, it should not. I think it's definitely supposed to be more of an intermittent thing. I think that's how nature intended it to be, but we are just ruining our bodies and our entire systems, and the body clock and the digestive clock. I don't know if there is one, but I think we're ruining everything because of capitalism. And this literally happened. Yeah, let me tell you guys. This literally happened. I mean, most of my friends are left leaning, so you probably already know this. But I think this happened because of, the manufacturing revolution. No, the industrial revolution. Yes. And people decided, the ruling class decided that they could not afford to give like 3 lunch breaks to the workers during the workday, and they also decided that we cannot be having people sleeping while they're working, or going for a nap. So that's how it became like, you do all of your eating in a 1 hour span, and then you get back to work, and also you do all of your sleeping during an 8 hour span, and then you don't take a moment's worth of rest for the other 16 hours. So we can literally blame this on capitalism as well. I really hate to say that again, but yeah, it's true. I can't help it. I literally can't help it. So yeah, silly little rules are also a direct result of capitalism. So that's the tea. Yeah, thank you for listening. I'm just kidding. I have more stuff to talk about, obviously, because I'm the main character. The other type of rules that I have are for like literally not letting myself nap during the day. Like, that was a thing that my parents would make me do when I was a kid, right? I think a lot of families would have this. Like, you take like an afternoon siesta after, like, you feed your kids lunch after they're back from school, and then the kids, go straight in for a nap. And then they wake up, and they're so excited and happy. And as kids, we hated sleep, but now I would just love to make that a part of my routine. I think that's gonna be really helpful. But yeah, no, I just don't. I feel so guilty whenever I take naps anymore, or like somebody around me is gonna make me feel guilty. Like, how are you taking a nap in the middle of the day? That's because that's how nature intended it. Okay, nature is healing when I'm taking a nap. That's gonna be my slogan. I'm gonna get it tattooed on my body. When I'm taking a nap, nature is healing. That's true, babies. So, yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Yeah, like, not following these rules would make me a happier person. But sadly, that's not how my brain works. So, yeah, the other type of silly little rules I have is when I am anxious about something, and then my brain just makes up dumb rules that convince me, like, okay, if I do this, then I will fix this problem. So, I think Gayatri sent a message on when I posted that question box on Instagram, being like, hey guys, let me know what you want me to talk about on this episode. And then she said, like, my brain will literally do this thing that if you don't do this, you will fail the exam. And oh my god, I thought I was literally the only one. I do the same thing. Like, whenever I have like a high anxiety, situation coming up, like an interview or an exam or, an essay that's due and I'm going to get my grades back. Also, literally, like for my COVID test as well, I'm so stressed that I'm going to get like a positive result. So my brain has been like, if I don't pet my dog 8 times on his head right now, my COVID test is gonna be positive. Some shit like that, guys. Some shit. If I'm climbing down some stairs, my brain is gonna be like, if you don't climb down these stairs at the end of 5 seconds, the building is gonna fall on you or some shit. It's so wild. It's so wild. If there are like yellow and white stones on a footpath, then my brain is gonna be like, if you step on the white stones, your crush does not like you. Something like this stuff. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this really happens. And I'm so glad that it also happens to Gayatri, because I'm not glad, but like, I'm happy to know that I'm not alone, basically. So that's kind of where my brain is at sometimes. Yeah, I feel like it's just a telltale sign that I'm feeling anxious or stressed about something and I should take it easy. I mean, I add this take it easy bit, as a suffix or like, as a afterthought after having been through a lot of these anxiety episodes, because I really don't think about taking a chill pill when I'm in the moment. It just never crosses my mind. And maybe even if it did, I would probably not take my own advice seriously. So that's the thing that my brain does. And if I'm doing that, I'm probably not going to tell anybody that I'm doing that, because, it just makes me sound like a freak, not gonna lie. And then my friend Shrishti said on the Instagram that sometimes my brain will not let me sleep at night if I don't do something dumb like social interaction. And oh my god, this is also so true for me. I don't know if you guys experience this or if anybody experiences this in the same way that I do, but if I don't do, certain tasks, like if I'm not quote unquote productive or I haven't had like, a good few meals in the day, or I've basically just taken a chill pill for the entire day, my brain will not let me sleep, and my brain is gonna be like, you didn't do this today, and you don't deserve to rest because of that, so fuck you. That's basically what my brain says. I'm sorry to the 35 to 49-year-old who's listening to this. Okay, I'm sorry, I curse a lot, I apologize. So it's just like, I'm disappointed in myself, so I will not let myself have this essential thing that I need, i.e., sleep. Dumb little rule. Like, I'm telling you, these rules genuinely make my life so sad and miserable, but I cannot do anything about them. Like, last time in my passion projects episode, I was like, society tells you this about passion projects, but that's not how it should be, and you should like believe in yourself and everything. But this time, I'm sorry, I just do not have a solution. Honestly, like, I don't think there is a solution I can give on this podcast without like genuinely sounding like a dumbass. But this is a thing, it's a problem. And if it affects you guys, let's go to therapy together. Actually, let's not, because therapy should be an intimate experience. Yeah, anyway, okay, at the same time, I feel like living alone really helps sort of challenge these dumb little rules that I make for myself, because at the end of the day, I feel these rules have been inculcated in my brain because of my socialization as a kid, living with my family. And then elders in your family teach you certain rules, like don't eat pizza on weekdays, or don't wear nice clothes if you're not going out for a special occasion or something. These are like rules that parents will teach their kids or elders will tell kids, and then the kids follow them. And I feel like when I'm back home, I just indulge in these dumb little rules even more than I would when I'm living alone. Because when you're living alone, like, your actions don't have consequences for anybody else but yourself, and that's like that's generally a very liberating thing. Whereas if you're at home, you have to think about, and that's a good thing as well, like it makes you a more responsible person and stuff, but you think about how others are gonna feel, or does my action affect somebody else. When you're having a meal with your family, you need to make sure that there's enough left for everybody else, right? You need to not fucking hog the entire dish that's been made, because yeah, literally other people have to eat it. And when you're alone, when I cook meals and I'm alone, living alone, I mean, I make 2 servings, because I'm like, I'm gonna have this 1 serving and then I'm gonna keep this other serving as a leftover, so I don't need to cook tomorrow or day after. And it can be like a lazy day treat for me, and I do not follow that. And instead, I'm like, I am just gonna eat 2 servings of pasta, and then I'm sick. There's a reason why these silly little rules maybe exist. For sometimes they are to protect yourself. But I challenge that rule that I'm gonna literally eat 2 servings of pasta, and then I'm sick the next day. But I did it, and I challenged the rules. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I should start doing that for like the things that make me, or the rules that make me even more miserable. Yeah. Another food related slash living alone related rule that I have is that I can't eat leftovers. It's something obviously that I challenged when I got to live alone, because obviously I can't be cooking 3 meals every single day. So I do have a lot of leftovers, but when you're at home, your mom is like, you know what, I want my kids to have fresh food every single day. So she says, don't eat leftovers and don't eat the kal raat ki chawal or something like that. And that's fine, that's a very pure sentiment, I feel. But that's definitely, like, I used to think leftovers were disgusting and, oh my god, the food is getting moldy or something. It's really not. Put it in the microwave, take a chill pill, enjoy your life, have those leftovers. There's a lot of power that leftovers possess, and I've really come to appreciate it in my time as a broke college student. Lastly, I feel like this penchant for rules sometimes makes me doubt myself, because this rule is like it's the rules word above all else. And if the rule says that I have to do this thing, then I personally have no agency over, anything that I could do instead of it. For example, again, a food example, am I hungry? Maybe I am hungry. I don't know, I just had dinner. But another rule, a dumb rule, is that okay, so I am making food, and there's this recipe that I need to follow, and I've made this recipe like literally 5-6 times, so by this time I've like basically memorized it, and I know how to make this thing, but I still will not allow myself to not look at the recipe on my phone while making this food, even though I'm probably literally reciting the recipe alongside. I will not let myself do it without assistance from the website, because I don't trust myself, and the silly little rule says that I can't trust myself with this, and I need to use the recipe website. It makes no sense. Why do I have to waste the data on my phone by looking at a recipe I already know? I have no idea, but I do this, and then I don't trust myself to make that recipe by myself again. And I really need to change that. I don't know how, but if I figure it out, I will let you guys know in another episode update. I think that's all from me today. I don't know, is this a long episode or is this a short episode? Because I feel like I'm going to edit out a lot. I've currently been recording for like 48 minutes. So that's fun. Thank you guys for listening. As always, you're the best. Thank you to the 45-year-old who had to listen to this and had to deal with all of my cursing and stuff. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe you're a 45-year-old who also curses a lot. I don't know. I don't judge. Thank you for listening. Thank you to the people who are living in 3 different continents. That's mad. Thank you for listening to this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put this podcast out on Friday, because I'm recording this on a Wednesday night, and I know I was supposed to record this on a Monday or a Tuesday, but I delayed it because I was sleepy. But then again, I told you guys that I'm not gonna take any pressure with this podcast as far as I can manage. Haha. I'm gonna release it some point this weekend, hopefully. If you're listening to this on a Saturday or a Sunday, that's probably what happened. But thank you so much for listening once again. This is making my life so much better right now. This podcast and talking into the void that is my microphone, knowing that you guys are gonna listen to this in like 72 hours' time. Yeah, I love you all and stay safe. Don't go to Goa. Don't dip your head and your body inside the river for a snan at Kumbh Mela or some shit. Just don't. And don't talk to Yogi Adityanath because he has COVID. Yeah, guys, take a chill pill. Stay safe. Hug your pet or something. I love you a lot. Thank you for listening. Bye. Good night.